Hello, Tim here from Youth Work Hacks. I've just finished a live Q&A session with young people, and I wanted to spend a minute talking to you as well about the hardest and the most important thing for a youth worker to know, and of course that's the gospel. But don't just switch off, because I'm troubled by our understanding of what the gospel is. It feels like we have our pet favourite pieces of the gospel, and that's what we talk about. So here's the gospel. Jesus Christ came, he lived, he died, he rose, he ascended, and he's coming back. He came and lived a perfect and sinless life, God incarnate, revealing the fullness of God to us. He lived a perfect life, fulfilling the law, fulfilling all the legal requirements that we couldn't do. He died on the cross as a human, paying the human penalty for a human problem, and as God, paying the divine penalty, an eternal penalty, paying for every human being who could ever live in space and time. He rose again from the dead, defeating death itself, proving his divinity, proving his completeness over this new creation that he started. He ascended into heaven, so right now he's the Lord of the universe, seated on the throne in heaven, and he's coming back. He absolutely will fix all the brokenness in the world and wipe every tear when he finishes this new creation story. That's the gospel. The reason I'm troubled, because we tend to underemphasize various pieces of this. The gospel works as a whole, and if we pluck a piece out of it, it collapses and heresy is born. And my issue is the more we emphasize the victory aspects, like the resurrection and the ascension, and downplay things like the death, we end up with something like prosperity gospel. The more we downplay the resurrection, we end up with a very defeatist, moralistic religion, or you emphasize the life and you end up with legalism. When we underemphasize pieces of the gospel, we get the gospel wrong. The gospel is the most important thing we can know, that we can share with young people, but it's so easy to get it wrong. It is about knowing Jesus, but it's about knowing that Jesus came, he lived, he died, he rose, he ascended, and he is coming back. And I think all these things are essentially one story. If you pluck an act out of a story, the narrative collapses. Let's teach the whole gospel to our young people.